So, hi students, welcome to another session of fingerprints. So, we were discussing about three types of prints. What are they? First one is visible print, next is plastic, and third one is latent prints. So, next we will see how to search for a latent print. So, searching of latent prints. At any scene of crime, the first thing we should look for is this. Four is the latent fingerprints. So all possible precautions should be taken to avoid any disturbance of the scene, and all surface that the criminal might have touched should be thoroughly examined. So all the crime scene or whole crime scene should be searched, and all the precautions to be taken, and you should search all the surface that the criminal might have touched, and you can use a strong oblique lighting for the searching of fingerprints, and some may show up under a reflected light or transmitted light. So you can use any of the lighting, and you can use many of the development methods if you are suspecting a crime fingerprint is there in this particular place. So the places you can search as tabletops or tabletops door knobs, or bottles, glasses, and other surfaces which the culprit might they can touch. Almira like ashtrays, plates, etc. So if you are suspecting that a particular fingerprint is there, you can develop that fingerprint. So next we will see the development of fingerprint. So how to develop the fingerprint? So generally there are two methods of developing a fingerprint. First one is physical method and next is chemical method. So development is basically two types, physical method and chemical method. So physical methods are based on the fact that perspiration and greasy matter retain certain substance without fusion. So the physical method is basically based on the fact that perspiration and greasy matter retain certain substances without fusion. Example, powder dusting. So lots of powders is available now, like black powder, grey powder, red powder, silver powder, fluorescent powder, etc. So using that powders you can develop physically the fingerprint. And chemical methods say alter the components of perspiration. So here the perspiration and greasy matter retain certain substance without fusion. So if we dust this powder on the surface of the fingerprints, latent prints, then the perspiration and greasy matter of that particular print helps to retain this powder, and we will get the print according to that one. And chemical techniques alter the components of perspiration. directly causing a reaction giving rise to certain coloration. For example, we can say ninhydrin, silver nitrate. So there are two methods, chemical methods, ninhydrin and silver nitrate. So if we apply this ninhydrin or a silver nitrate to the particular fingerprint which we are suspecting, so the components of the perspiration of that print will react with this ninhydrin and will give a color change. So with that color change, we can identify the chemical the fingerprints using the chemical method. So since a number of methods exist for development, it is important to determine which method is best for the result. So the general method used in the development of applying powders to certain surface suspected of having been touched, directing fumes or vapors towards them, or applying chemical solutions to them. Some of the techniques development of fingerprint we will discuss now. So first we will discuss about physical method and then we'll go to the chemical method. So physical method, as I already said, perspiration and greasy matter retain certain substance without any fusion. So we can use powder dusting or iodine fuming like that methods. So now we will discuss about some of the powder physical methods. Basically the powder methods are we are discussing here. So physical method, first one is powder development techniques. So if the powdering technique is preferred, it is not important to determine which powder is used. So the powder selected should be fine grained and of color that give contrast to the background. So the color of the powder should be contrast to the background. Why? Because this is a white background, right? So I am writing in red ink so that it is clearly visible what I am writing. So the same principle we are using in a white surface or in a light surface. You should use a dark color powder. Dark powders you should use, and in a dark surface you have to use a light colored powder. So for example, if the fingerprint is on a blackboard or a black surface, you can use a white powder or gray powder. And if it is on the wall which is painted in white or any light color, white wall you can say, then the powder you should use a dark color or black powder you can use, or red powder you can use. So this is the basic thing. So it should be finely grained powder you should use, and the contrast, it should be in contrast with the background of the surface. And also the adhesive character of the powder is also very important. So you should use adhesive powders. If there is no adhesive character for that particular powder, then there is no use of using it one. So adhesive character of the powder is also another important factor considered to be in the selection of the powder. And a fingerprint developing kit is usually provided with black or gray fingerprint powders, and some kits is also providing a silver color, mainly black and white they are getting, and we'll get also red, silver or golden color fingerprint powders. And now let's see some of the types of fingerprint powders. So first one is black powder. So the basic ingredients of black powder are lamp black and basic ingredient is lamp black, graphite and charcoal. So Mainly we are using black powder ingredients as lamp black, graphite and charcoal. And if the prints to be developed are on absorbing surface such as paper, then black powder containing a mixture of heavy salt like manganese dioxide or graphite powder is preferred. So if the prints are on the absorbing surface like as paper is a porous surface. So if the print is on the porous surface, then the black powder containing we should add in this black powder some manganese dioxide and graphite powder. To light black powder which has the tendency to paint or smudge the surface, and excellent results are obtained with this powder when applied on paper and chinaware. So black powder, basically the ingredients are lamp black, graphite and charcoal. Lamp black, graphite and charcoal. And if we are using this black powder in the on the surface which contain or which are on the absorbing surface, then you should add a mixture of heavy metal salt like manganese dioxide and graphite powder to get the good result. And when we apply this black powder, good results will get on paper and chinaware. So this is basically black powder. Next one is gray powder or white powder. Gray or white powder. So the gray powder that produces excellent results consists of mercury and chalk. So basic ingredient of this gray or white powder is mercury and chalk, and although the powder is excellent, the harm it can cause the user has prevented use of mercury for fingerprint powders. So now mercury is not using, but we will get excellent results when we add this mercury in the gray powder. And there are also various other formulations of white powder consisting of titanium dioxide. So we can use titanium dioxide in this, and zinc dioxide, and also gum acacia. So these are the basic ingredients of this gray or white powder. Either mercury and chalk will give good result, but because of some health issues caused by the mercury is not used now, and we can also use titanium dioxide, zinc dioxide or gum acacia instead of this. And excellent results are obtained with gray white powder on glass wires, silver wires and plated wires. So this is about gray or white powder. Next we'll see about red powder. So red powder is also known as dragon's blood, and is finely powdered red resin. This is a finely powdered red resin from the fruit of a palm that is used in manufacture of zinc engravings. And when a latent print is developed with this dragon blood and heat is applied to it, we have to heat this one, a fine print will appear, and it is found useful on paper where the prints are fresh. So if the fingerprints are fresh, we can use the dragon's blood, and this is finely powdered red resin from the fruit of a palm that is used in the manufacture of zinc engravings. And when this is applied, this dragon blood is applied, and you have to heat this one, and after that a fine print will appear. So it is found useful in paper when the fingerprints are fresh one. And next is silver powder. So the main ingredient of silver powder is fine aluminium dust. aluminium dust, and it is used on hard surfaces which are painted, polished or varnished, and on objects such as feathers, cellophane, etc. So silver powder is the main ingredient used in this powder is fine aluminium dust, and it is used on hard surfaces which are painted, polished or varnished, and the objects like cellophane, feathers, etc. And an indispensable requirement is that the object should be absolutely dry. So only in a dry surface you can use this silver powder. And the last one is fluorescent powder. Fluorescent powder. So when fingerprints have to be developed on multicolored surface, such as multicolored curtains or magazine covers, calendar, tin, etc., fluorescent powders are used. So mainly fluorescent powders are used in multicolored surface such as curtains, magazines covers or calendar or tin. And the developed prints are then removed to the dark room and exposed to UV light. So these developed prints you have to transfer to a dark room and expose to UV light, and the latent impression fluorescence, they will give a fluorescence and can be photographed without developing, without any interference. So fluorescent powders are used in multicolored surface and such as curtains, magazine covers, calendar, tin, etc. And when after developing this one, you can transfer this to a dark room and you have to expose this in UV light. Then it will give a fluorescent property, and that can be photographed without any interference from the colored background. Then some examples of fluorescent powder are anthracene and rhodamine B. Rhodamine B. So these are some of the examples of fluorescent powder. So these are the types of powders which can develop the fingerprints. First one is black powder. So black powder, the basic ingredients are lampblack, graphite and charcoal. And when we are using this on the surface, absorbent surfaces such as paper, we can say as porous surface, then you should add manganese or graphite powder to that to get a better result, that is metal salts, any heavy metal salt, and this will give better results on paper and chinaware. And next one is gray or white powder. So gray and white powder produce excellent results, consist of mercury and chalk, but some harm effects are there for this mercury, so that it is less used now or reduced now. And we can use titanium dioxide, zinc dioxide or gum acacia instead of that one. And excellent results are obtained in glass wires, silver wires and plated wires. And next is red powder. So red powder is also called as dragon's black and is finely powdered red resin from the fruit of palm that is used in manufacture of zinc gravings. And this is developed and heated, then we will get a good fine print of our fingerprint, and this will give best result in on paper. Then next is silver powder. So silver powder is ingredient is fine aluminium dust, and it is used on hard surface which are painted, polished or varnished, and on objects like feather, cellophane, etc. And the main thing is that it should be absolutely dry. Then last one is fluorescent powder. So fluorescent powder will give best result on multicolored surface such as curtains, magazine covers, calendar, tin, etc. And after developing, you should enter this to a dark room, or change this into a dark room and expose to UV light, so that it will give a fluorescent property. And after that you can photograph this one without any interference of the colored background. And some of the examples for fluorescent powder is anthracene and rhodamine B. So I hope you understood about the physical methods, and in the next session we will discuss about how to apply the powder and how to develop this one. So thank you.